I'll be thankful for everyone that shows up. I'll be thankful for every laugh I get. Super grateful for everybody that buys a Jello shot. I will not complain even when they don't tip me, which happens a hell of a lot. I will be cordial and pleasant to everyone I see. And I will be thankful to my employer, honey. I should have been smoking. You know? I was president of our gay group on our college campus, Towson, and we had a charity drag show. I was in charge of hosting it because of my award-winning personality, and I got put in drag by a friend, and basically everything was given to me, and because I had never done drag before, and I was really funny, and the sound went out on the show, and the sound goes out, so I'm basically up there for 45 minutes telling jokes. Then I had a manager at a nightclub that I really like to go to in Baltimore. I was like, gosh, you're really funny. Come, host something at the club, and that's how it started. I was raised in pretty much a trailer park outside of Baltimore. I went to Towson University and graduated with honors and lived in Baltimore for a couple of years after that. And then I moved to New York about 8 years ago. My motivation coming to New York, I was MAC Cosmetics makeup artist. And so I was doing that. And then the natural progression is just to move to New York because there's only so much money you can really make at MAC in Baltimore. Do you know what I mean? There's only so much money you can make anywhere besides New York or LA in the makeup business. So that's what brought me. But drag definitely helped. There's definitely some places that I really wanted to work at when I moved to New York. And I'm there now. So when I was in Baltimore, I competed in a lot of pageants, went to Miss Gay America, really enjoyed it, but it was really stifling. And my drag name is Chaka Khanvict, and nobody got it. They'd always ask me dumb questions like, well, you're white. Like, yeah, no shit, I know I'm white. It's a funny joke. My original drag name, I was thinking about doing Aretha Frankfurter. Well, it was between Chaka Khanvict and Aretha Frankfurter. My really good friend at the time had picked both of them, which I thought was pretty funny. And then, consequently, when I was deciding, I got arrested. So, so I was like, I guess convict it is. Well, the Ritz Real Deal, it's myself and 3 other girls. They all perform. I host the show and sell Jello shots. Every once in a while, I perform. When I feel like those other bitches aren't stepping up, then I'm like, oh, Christ, here has come a professional performer. I definitely think of myself as a comedian. Even when I sell Jello shots, I like to think of it as like each person gets a little minute show when I sell them a Jello shot. Because nobody likes a goddamn Jello shot. It's full of sugar, it's not that much booze in it. It's not that great. But what they're buying is me.
Sounds like my last date.
It's so funny, there was a few bars opened up. One specifically I remember in Hell's Kitchen recently. They just opened up, and they were like, we're not, love you, girl, but we're not doing any drag. Less than 3 months later, they have drag, I think, 2 or 3 nights a week now. So it's really the only way all these gay bars can really like stay relevant is utilizing drag, and I think that that's true nationwide. I think it's interesting because we say the things that people are thinking, but they don't say. Or, I mean, could you imagine if some of the stuff I say, a really good-looking buff guy says, he's just considered a jerk then. But if the fat drag queen with big goofy hair and big bright pink lips and big old lashes says it, then that's just camp. But not everyone likes that, You got to be really smart when you're a drag comedian, who you insult and when you insult them, and you got to really have a good idea of what your audience is willing to, what they want to go for. I mean, it's definitely taken me all this time, and I'm still learning. Every once in a while I make a mistake, and I'm like, ooh, that queen took it the wrong way. And it's so funny because even though I know it's a joke and I know that they're kind of being an asshole, it still makes me feel bad every time. I think drag is every day, honey. You see these girls pumping it on Fifth Avenue, going into the shops, feeling cute in 5-inch heels. Nobody wants to shop in 5-inch heels. That's their drag. You see guys that spend 4 hours in the gym, then they go tanning, then they find a child's small shirt to wear out to a nightclub. That's their drag. My drag's just a lot more colorful. They used to say when I was in Baltimore doing the pageants, they say, girl, you paint for the bleachers. I think I paint for the cheap seats. But, here's the thing, is I love makeup. I like what it can do, and I like the way it changes my face. I think it's so cool when I'm out as Philip, and people don't recognize that it's Chaka until I open my mouth, because my voice is the same. But the main difference between me and other drag queens is I own blending brushes. So you can tell by a lot of times they obviously don't, or they don't know how to use them. I think that the best way to really learn how to do makeup is trial and error, and then pick and choose the techniques that you like. Copying someone's exact technique isn't going to be right for your face. I use a lot of glitter. That's always kind of constant. Everything else is subject to change, or, especially I still have some great relationships with some makeup brands. So when they give me free stuff, I'm so excited to use it. But you know what? To go back to that, a huge makeup inspiration for me? She's so under the radar and no one ever talks about it, but Elvira. Elvira, Mistress of the Dark. I mean, she is the quintessential drag queen. I met her when I was a little kid. My father took me to a boat show. I could give a damn about those yachts, but Elvira was at the boat show signing stuff. Honey, I was in that line so fast. I feel like I get a high from performing, definitely. I get a great high from making someone else laugh. I think there's nothing better in the world, maybe having an orgasm. Having an orgasm, and then right under that is making somebody laugh. And if you can laugh and have an orgasm at the same time, well, you're doing something. I wouldn't be upset if my whole career, ended up being drag. Look at somebody like Lady Bunny, She's made an amazing career, and she's done a ton of really awesome stuff and travels the world. It ain't a bad life. How many accountants can say the same thing, you know what I'm saying? I have all this material, I've got all of this stand-up, and I just need to decide, do I want to do it as Philip or Chaka? I really want to do it as Chaka, but I'll tell you what, the stand-up community in New York City can't handle a drag queen stand-up. And it's funny to me because so many stand-ups separate themselves. And there was even this gay stand-up night, and they said, no drag allowed. And I'm thinking to myself, these drag queens, look at Shaquita, Sherry Vine, Bianca Del Rio. They have hour-long shows that are pretty much stand-up shows. And these comedians are doing 5 minutes on stage, and they're like, oh, no, well, we're the real stand-ups, you know what I mean? You just see some guy on stage in a flannel shirt that's untucked and kind of, and he's bitching about what? Being good-looking? Dane Cook. I mean, that's not funny. That's not interesting, but you have a drag queen with a little pizzazz and a little show. Even if you don't necessarily like every one of her jokes, you can at least look at the earrings and be like, well, that's sparkly, Our community has so many talented performers, and, they can all intertwine. I need to see the first drag sitcom. I mean, we still haven't had, a male impersonating a woman on a sitcom, which I think is genius. Well, they had it a little bit on 30 Rock. Do you remember that? But how great would that be to have a sitcom that takes themselves seriously, or, a comedy, but where the main character is a drag queen. Is that genius? I just want to see myself happy. I don't care if I'm rich or poor, single, married. Just as long as I'm happy, not hurting nobody, maybe doing something a little good for the world, making people laugh. I think that's enough. I literally walked into the Ritz and said, hey guys, this is my favorite place to come to when I visit New York City. I'd like to sell Jell-O shots here. Would that be okay? I've been there for 7 years. Since Baltimore, I'll tell you what though, this is the truth. You know, Baltimore, you very much have that like family unit, you know, with all the drag queens perform every week and it's a showcast. I've never felt that same thing in New York City until recently with Madeline, Pussy, and Jada. Shade is healthy, honey. You got to be able to laugh at your own selves and laugh at the community. I'll tell you what, I will throw shade at any drag queen. I will bust anyone's balls. But if you talked about my friends or my sisters, as some people like to put it, I'll beat your ass. I mean, I pretty much have free range to do whatever I want during my shows or when I sell Jell-O shots. And, you know, to shock people in New York City is like a great coup. Like, that's like when you can shock somebody in New York City, like, you're really doing it.